Finally. Oh, here we are. We're live. Hi, Rachel. Welcome to Thursday, June 11th.
And welcome to What's for Dinner.
And welcome to What's for
Weekly
Dinner.
podcast.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Rachel, I know we've just been chatting. I've got a lot going on. It's 3 graduations and a wedding. 3 graduations and a wedding. So it feels like I'm in a movie right now.
Yes.
So anyway, it's occurred to me, Rachel, that some people might be finding us and they don't know who we are. They don't know what we do. And I think, Rachel, it's high time we just take a beat and tell people who we are. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. I would love to kind of reintroduce people who've been listening to us for a while, kind of reintroduce who we are, what we do, for those finding us, to educate and to kind of expand on what we do, why we do what we do, and maybe really touch on some of the hot topics of our culture. Some of the key phrases that are out there in the health and well-being world, and how are we addressing that, and how are we showing up for our patients? What does that look like as a support in Oregon Weight and Wellness and the program that we have?
Right. How we provide infrastructure, right? That's a key word, I think.
It really is. It's key.
Yes. How we provide infrastructure for those who are looking to improve their health. Yeah. Specifically by focusing on their weight and weight loss. Yeah. So
it's the Wild West out there, right? So we're gonna try to help people who are confused or seeing so much out there. So Wild West in the world of health, well-being, medications. And we know from research that people do best when they have infrastructure, like you said, when they have the support and they have the type of people dialed in to help guide this process. Because for me and you, this is a lifestyle change, not a diet and not a quick fix.
Right. Yeah. So true. And the other thing I want to mention is that the majority of us, no man is an island. Okay. I'm sorry that I'm not quoting that. Who said that? I don't know. No man is an island. Somebody said that. Somebody famous. Yes, we all need support. We're here. We need each other. We need each other to be our best selves. And so Rachel, you want to start? Should I say, where should we start?
Well, let's start off with a little bit, just like the 30,000 foot view of who you are, who I am, and what Oregon Weight and Wellness is.
Right. Yes. So give a little background there. So I'm Julie Gilbert, and I'm a family physician by training. I have been in the Salem Keizer area since 1995. What? Yeah. So, and I had the beautiful family practice for over 20 years. I loved it. I loved getting to know people and their families and taking care of generations of families and from birth to death. And I love the variety of it and working with people. And I got frustrated, Rachel, when people would come to me and ask me for help with their weight. And I just had no tools. I didn't even have a toolbox for tools. So, I had a pen answer. And I think a lot of patients receive when they are looking for help in this area about, losing weight, eat less, move more, that just kind of rinse, repeat, pad answer. And although there's probably truth in that it's not a real helpful piece of advice. And so maybe I would suggest Weight Watchers or whatever. And so it turns out that there was kind of this alignment, this perfect storm of changes going on in my life where the docs that with whom I've been working, they were getting ready to retire. So I was thinking about, what does medicine look like, without them? What is my practice going to look like? and I was facing some of my own health issues, my own struggles with weight, for example, and also some of my family members were having some health issues that I knew were had to do with lifestyle. So I took a deep dive. This was around 2013, 2014 into the world of nutrition, which admittedly we don't get a lot of experience or education with in most of the medical school training. I think they're doing better with that now.
They are,
yeah. And so I took a deep dive. I learned so much, and it was so energizing and fulfilling. And I made a decision that I'm going to shift my focus in my practice of medicine to nutrition, lifestyle changes. And from there, the world has been open to me. Yeah. And so I first started a weight management program for one of the primary care group in Salem. And they were a group of primary care clinics. And that went really well. I learned so much. We were very busy. Tried to get this covered within the insurance space, and you got to kind of play the game, the insurance game, as it were. Because, even though obesity is considered a disease, has an ICD-10 code in the medical field, and that's actually a relatively new thing, as you know, Rachel. Insurance, very slow on the uptick. It doesn't fall above their criteria, their line of coverage. So it's gaining momentum, actually. And with the onslaught of the GLP-1 medications, which we're going to talk about, maybe not today, but in later episodes around our topic here. But anyway, so long story short, this group of clinics was then bought by a hospital that had a bariatric program, a surgical program, and really felt they didn't need a medical program. And so, unfortunately, I think that was a little short-sighted, but they didn't ask me about that, so that's okay. Anyway, so then end of 2019, I just said, okay, I'm doing this. And I started Oregon Weight and Wellness in December 2019. And that's probably when we first got, we had met before that and talked a lot, but that's when we connected and you started working with me regarding this lifestyle. And we've just learned so much together and grown so much together. Why don't you pick it up from there? Well, jump in there and tell us about you and your journey.
Well, I have to just add a little bookend to what you said, because in a recent interview that we had, one of my favorite things I've ever heard you say is, and I'm misquoting you, but you're practicing the best medicine of your life. Is that about?
Right? The best medicine. Yes, that's true.
And that just speaks volumes to that you're in your passion point. You're working on a mission with a purpose, a drive, a vision, and you feel like you have the freedom and ability, because of the business you've created, to get traction, to do the kind of medicine you want to do that's best for your patients, to see them, to sit with them, to have longer visits, to give the kind of care in a program where it's not just squeezing people in back to back and they're kind of going through this washing machine of visits. So I joined you. I think my first official start date was somewhere in January of 2020, and little did we know what was coming down the bend but we navigated that great. I think we did a great job navigating it, came through mostly unscathed. And I was just becoming a coach, a certified health and wellness coach. Shortly after that, I think in March of that year or so, I got my board certification, and we started to introduce coaching as part of the wraparound service in the clinic that you had created. So it was a chance for patients to have group coaching sessions or one-on-one coaching to help them really put into practice the things that you were working on with them. So, hey,
Mhm.
here are the areas for attention, and here's what this lifestyle change is going to look like. And then I got to come in and say, okay, now how are we going to do that? And working with the
Mhm.
client, the patient, to help them decide what matters to them. How do they want to make this work, right? There's
Mhm.
the fundamentals of health, but it looks different for each person, how they live it
Mhm.
out in their life.
Right.
Some people like to bike, some people like to swim, some people like to walk, some people like to do yoga.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Yeah.
we're flexible in that. There's no one size fit all. And the coaching is that chance for the client and the patient to
Mhm.
be heard and seen in
Mhm.
a dreamy visioning
Mhm.
kind of session. So that's kind
Yeah.
of who I am and
Yeah.
what I come in to
Yeah, and
do.
I want to just speak a little bit more to that, Rachel. So I think one of the things that we both do together with the patient well is we help them understand and accept where they are
Mhm.
physiologically in their body. I think we help them take away judgment and
Mhm.
shame, that, and that takes work. That's work.
Yeah.
We help them envision we don't tell them where they need to be, where they
Mhm.
should be. There's no shoulding. We help them figure out where they want to be, what their goals are, and maybe their vision of health and wellness is.
Yeah.
And then we help them create the path, because for any long-term change, you have to have some acceptance of where you are,
Mhm.
understanding and acceptance in a safe place without judgment. You have to have a desire and a longing and a motivation of being,
Yeah.
somewhere for, and then you have to see the steps. So, yeah, and I think that's what we've created with Oregon Weight and Wellness. Yeah,
Beautifully
yeah.
said, beautifully summarized. And it really, I mean, I say this often that patients will often come to us, come to your clinic with the goal of losing weight. That's
Mhm,
usually the number one
mhm,
felt pain point, lose weight for a variety of reasons. Maybe they need
mhm,
to have a surgery. Maybe
mhm,
their labs are representing the dysfunction in their body due to carrying extra weight. But that's normally the number one reason. But when
mhm,
we start looking under the hood,
mhm,
looking at the rocks and exploring the path and journey, it's always bigger than that. There's always such a deeper, more intrinsic, more beautiful reason to lose weight. And
yeah,
that becomes a vision point. That becomes the why that's sustainable over time.
yeah,
If I just need to lose weight, it can be motivating sometimes, but
mhm,
sometimes, nah, forget it. You know,
mhm,
we
mhm,
fall off track really easily if that's the only reason. So
mhm,
part of what we do, yeah, is helping them figure out why and where are they headed and create the pathway for it.
mhm,
And that's just what's so different because on the other end of weight loss, who are you? Were you
mhm,
headed that direction
right,
and do you recognize yourself? Have you been planning for this version of you? Because there's a
right,
different version of you that comes out on the other end of
yeah.
this health journey.
Right, right. And both of us, and I don't, we can talk about this today or
Mhm.
another time. We both
Yeah.
had our own struggles, right? I
Mhm.
mean, we're not coming to this, you know, never not having an empathy or an understanding or have tried different things and a sense of, this
Mhm.
yo-yoing,
Right.
and frustration and pain, really. So I think we also bring that to the
Mhm.
table
Mhm.
for our patients too. It's not that we necessarily always share the story or talk about it, but we just have
Yeah. It's
we just know that people aren't sitting there eating bonbons, right? We
right.
know that they're not shoveling ice cream. We know that, so that we know that eat less, move more. Um, that messaging just falls
Mhm.
flat and is not
Yes.
helpful, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that that's really important to state because I'm asked that a lot, well, I mean, in a coaching conversation, we're having real conversations and they say, well,
Mhm.
Rachel, how would you know?
Right.
What do you know about this journey? And I do
Mhm.
know, and
Mhm.
you do know. We
Mhm.
both come from a place of deep empathy because we've been there. We've
Mhm.
experienced what our patients and clients are experiencing. And so we have that we know that the stories they're telling, we feel them, we
Yeah.
understand them
Yeah.
deeply.
Yeah.
Not to mention having the expertise, the experience, the education that we both bring um,
Mhm.
on the the physiologic, the biologic, the
Yeah.
psychologic, all of it.
Yeah.
All it
Yeah.
plays a part in this.
Yeah. To your point, Rachel, you've done this beautiful Well Coaches course in and national board certification. So, I mean, and now you've had years of experience of coaching. So that's so important to, it's not this pop-up kind of fly-by-night thing, we're for real. We're for real.
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah.
I have to say, I keep finding so much gratitude for my clinical medical assistant training and certification that I have.
Yes.
Because with that, I'm able to understand the medical side. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, but I do have experience and certification understanding medications and protocols and biology and physiology. So that really serves me when somebody's talking about their medical conditions. I know what they're talking about. I understand the medications. So gosh, wow, this wraparound just of feeling like they're in good hands. Like, oh, these people, they get it. They understand this whole path, this whole journey.
Right. And then, so as I mentioned, board certified in family medicine, and then also in obesity medicine, which was extra training and, board certification. And then all the coursework for lifestyle medicine. And we've both taken coursework in culinary medicine. So and offer cooking classes. So we really want to be the nuts and bolts and have practical real life experience to give, and show patients. So there's hands-on, a lot of hands-on stuff. So we're not a virtual space. We're real live people who, coming at you live.
Right.
So.
And having and creating those real live touch points. People are meeting with you in person. People are meeting with me sometimes in person, sometimes via text messaging, phone call. My sessions are oftentimes on phone call, but we also do Zoom sessions. We'll periodically meet up for walks and talks. Certainly the hands-on cooking that's live in our culinary kitchen. So there's a lot of those touch points where it's not an AI chatbot on the other end of that message, just kind of giving you a pat answer. This is a real person in real time available for you. And that's part of what is so important to us to offer to our patients.
Yeah, Rachel, the reason I think this is so important is because more and more people are having access, gaining access to GLP-1 medications, which have been so powerful and helpful in this weight management space, of course. And I will say that whether it's a branded version or compounded version, a lot of times people don't have the infrastructure to make sure that the medication serves them the best that it can. Right. Because unfortunately, too, all over social media, I think that, there are some, people are telling their horror stories about these medications. Yeah. And so, so I think moving forward, maybe for next time, we can talk a little bit about those medications, what they are, what they do, and then eventually the importance of that infrastructure to help the person taking that medication have the most benefit and the least risk for, in taking the medication.
Yeah, I think we want to jump into a series basically about GLP-1s and weight loss medications to really kind of uncover the myths, highlight the importance, what they're all about, what are the ways that you use them and offer them, so that a patient can come in educated and realize what that it's not as simple as it looks out there in the world. There's a lot going on, and so what are some of these things to be aware of? And is this a medication, if you're listening, for you? And if so, could we help you out with that? Would this be a clinic where you could find the help that you're looking for in your health journey? So I'm excited to dive a little bit more into the hood.
Right, right. Yes, because I was thinking that um, with the GLP-1s, I mean,
Hmm.
they're very powerful medications, and we're seeing their utility in lots of different spaces
Yeah.
and places, in medicine, and we're just learning so much every day. Um, and my concern is, I guess
Hmm.
this is my real concern, is that I don't want these medications to be one more fad, right?
Yeah.
One more place where a person, if they're not using them correctly, experiences what they would consider failure,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because we know people's stories. They feel like they've tried and they
Yeah.
tried and they tried and they lose weight and then regain and lose and regain. And and then, I just don't want people to feel like, oh, they found it without the supervision and the support that they need, maybe lose weight only to regain it,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's my heart. Yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciate you saying that because I've never really heard that kind of spoken aloud or kind of
Mhm.
um, described that really are we looking down the road a bit and
Mhm.
and you are and you're
Mhm.
looking at how can we prevent this from being part of a failure story and
Mhm.
it can very easily be part of a failure story
Mhm.
when not
Mhm.
used appropriately and with the
Right.
guidance and the plan that
Yeah.
we map out a plan. You talk with the
Mhm.
patient, okay, what's the plan here
Yeah.
now in 3 months 6 months, so we know where we're headed and how
Mhm.
do we get there
Mhm. Yeah.
successfully.
Yeah.
And I heard the term we all know the term yo-yo dieting and the harm that and the damage that's kind of caused to people's psyche about it, but also to their bodies and kind of
Mhm.
how hard that is on bodies. And that there's this yo-yo Ozempicing, and I don't know what they
Mhm.
call it. I don't know what the term is, but there's that's starting to kind of
Mhm.
apply, and we can see
Mhm.
how a yo-yoing with this medication, what
Mhm.
the ramifications could look like long
Yeah.
term.
Yeah. And so this is my last point, and I think we need to move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as you're talking, I'm just thinking that one of the reasons for yo-yo, and it's because of our diet culture, our diet mentality. It's
Mhm.
because we haven't embraced the physiology of the fat cell and weight, and how the body stores energy, and the dysfunction that comes into it. So the the um the fear is, or for me, or maybe not the fear, I don't want to say fear, I'm not afraid, but I mean the potential is
Yeah.
that if we don't shift our mindset, right, if we don't shift our mindset to lifestyle, and that these medications are part of the tools for
Mm.
lifestyle change. If we don't shift our mindset, Rachel, we're just not going to get anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Gosh, I'm
Getting
feeling
fired up.
energy. I'm feeling the passion. All right,
You're
let's
getting
keep
fired
talking
up.
about this. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep talking about this.
Okay,
Yeah.
so those of you listening, if you are hearing this
Mhm.
and you're interested, share this with a friend. Let them know that we're going to be doing this series. Repost this on your socials in Facebook or Instagram so that this can get out there. If for
Mhm.
nothing else, that it's some education and some information, even for the person not taking a GLP-1 or not needing a
Mhm.
GLP-1, they're likely knowing someone in their lives who
Mhm.
are taking it or are going to be
Mhm.
taking it. How can they
Yeah.
support and understand it better and have less of that diet mentality and less of that judgment space and more of
Yeah.
understanding?
Yeah.
So for those of you listening, please share this so that other people
Yeah.
can benefit.
Good. Okay, Rachel, do we have time to tell? Do you have time to tell us what's for dinner? Okay, what's for dinner?
There. So we are going to do trivia night tonight at a
Mhm.
local winery. Very excited about this with some friends. And so I'm going to look at the menu ahead of time because their menu is kind of seasonal. It kind of changes. I know they do some great wood-fired pizzas. But my question would be, can I add a ton of veggies on top of it? And if not, maybe we eat ahead of time trivia is not till 6, so we might do an early dinner. That would probably be my best choice. Then I know I'm nourishing ahead of time with what I want. If I have a little appetizer like hummus plate, that's okay. So I'm not sure, but my big goal is look ahead of time at the menu and choose ahead of time. And if it doesn't have what I want, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just pivot, make my own food.
Right.
I know they have a hummus plate. They always have a yummy hummus plate. So at the very least, I would feel really good about that. And then some fun trivia.
So great.
How about you? What's for dinner?
Yes. So, well, we're headed out of town this weekend for our big 3 graduations and a wedding. What? So I'm cleaning out the fridge, so whatever protein's in there, I'm eating it, and I have been making these egg white wraps, and I have one left over. So there's a ton of protein there. And then I've got my, so this is just protein and vegetables. So I know that I have some mixed greens that need to be eaten, and I'm just going to throw my cucumbers and my colored bell peppers and my sun-dried tomatoes and that. And so nothing fancy, everything simple, very quick, but whole and real.
Yeah.
Rachel.
And you don't need a recipe for that, right? There's no
recipe. Yeah.
How do I put, you just do it. You just
eat it. I'm just washing and eating, and eating. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I got things to do, baby, but I'm going to eat slowly. Rachel, I'm going to eat slowly. All right. I'm saying that out loud to myself so that I hear it and it registers at a higher cognitive level.
Yeah. More important now than maybe ever, because you're coming into a highly exciting but highly stressful, good stress, but stressful, and maybe some bad stressors, with crazy schedules. So coming into that from a more calmed, nourished GI tract and system, right? Not a crazy reflex.
That's right. Yes. Calm. Parasympathetic. Yes. All right. Perfect. Well, this has been great. This has been a great conversation. I'm excited to start this, and have a great rest of your day. Enjoy this beautiful sunshine. It's going to be hot. Stay hydrated with that water.
That's right. All right, friends, we'll see you next week. This is exciting. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.